With the first half of the season done, the drivers will expect a bit of a rest. However, with the GTO Championship the closest it has been for a few seasons, the drivers are faced with one of the toughest tracks for multiclass, as well as one of the most taxing for tyres. So who will prevail around the historic Autodromo Jose Carlos Pace? We will find out soon as we get ready to watch round 7 of the Camel GT series, and you will see it all live here on the Global Sim Racing Channel. Hello everyone, I am Craig King, and with me in the booth is Adam Lindgren. Behind the scenes is our director, Robert O'Brien, and he is using cameras provided by Dougie Beard. Known to all as Interlagos, this Sao Paulo track has legacy in Formula One. So let's take a look at the track guide to see what makes it so special.
Welcome to Autodromo's Jose Carlos Pace. Most fans and drivers simply know this place as Interlagos. Starting life as an absolute behemoth of a circuit, this Brazilian track was eventually truncated to the version you see today. Having hosted Formula One for roughly 3 decades, it's become very well known on the international stage. But it has also held rounds in the World Endurance Championship, as well as frequently seen Brazilian stock cars, motorcycles, and even truck racing. There's little difference between its two layouts, which includes the GP course and the Moto course, which simply adds a chicane to the end of the lap. In both cases, it's a tale of 2 circuits. The run past the start-finish line and into the Senna S, followed by the blast towards the Descida do Lago, are very high-speed sections that come back-to-back. Drivers will need to focus on top end in order to attack or defend. Expect most passes to happen in those 2 corners. But from Ferradura until Junção, the track suddenly twists itself into a mess of hairpins and frustratingly technical turns. This can make car setup a real compromise, and for the latter part of the lap, an absolute pain when dealing with traffic. Pit exit is also a narrow affair, so it requires drivers to take care when trying to maximize their outlaps. On the upside, with this being a modern F1 track, there's paved runoff in abundance at many of the fast corners. The passion of the Brazilian fans always comes out in force at races, and it's no wonder with this picturesque track sandwiched right amongst the neighborhoods of Sao Paulo.
Of course, that is a quick look at the track, but Adam, let's have a further look at this track and expect exactly what we're expecting tonight.
Absolutely. Interlagos is a phenomenal track built primarily for the Brazilian Sports Car Series and Formula One. This track features 15 turns and 2.676 miles or 4.309 kilometers total, and this track is going to be a monster for both of these classes to handle. The Nissans are going to feel the most at home here with the sweeping medium and high speed corners and off camber, easier to tackle with their downforce machines, but they're going to have to be very careful in the second sector with all of the tight turns with Bico de Pato through Ferradura, a real challenge for those sections. And then the exit of Junção, a hard challenge to get the speed down headed towards the front stretch. The Audis, on the other hand, while it's fun to drive around here, it's not exactly fast, with those medium and high-speed sweeping corners absolutely wearing out the front left tire around this particular track, with that middle sector being the most fun part of the track for the Audis. Multiclass around here is a bear, though, because of the 10-second delta between the 2 classes. The Nissans are going to have to be very careful, but also very assertive when cutting their way through the Audis, and the Audis need to be sure to leave a bit of room for the Nissans at the apexes if they decide to make a dive. But Craig, over the last couple of weeks, it's been a real challenge for these drivers to keep themselves out of harm's way, and I expect no less today.
Yeah, the last few weeks have been a little battle of attrition and survival with some of these drivers. We'll notice that when we get to the GTO stand. But let's look at the GTP, because it is Heitor Sintes Galindo yet again leading that championship by 39 points to Ferran Grau. Now, there is still time for Ferran to catch up there, but also behind you've got Martin Krajcik and Aaron Humphrey and Seamus Power all there looking to go. Aaron and Seamus, after Road America 500 results, that's really helping them. And of course, Lars Olsen at the bottom there with Matthew Redford. But those GTOs, as I was talking about, it's very close up there.
It is very close, and the real surprise is that Villirola is at the top of the standings. Now, it's no surprise that Villirola would be there, but he's there with only 4 races bagged for this season so far out of the 6 that we've had. So that's a pretty impressive run for him with 4 races done. Ove Tranquerade's been at 5, and he's there in second position, only 5 points back, with Arturas Kundalis and Javier Del Olmo both attending all of the races in third and fourth. Yuko Leskala has had 2 DNFs and a missed race this season, so he's lost all of his drop points for the season, and he's sitting there in 5th position trying to fight his way back up to Villy. We've got Doug Cloud, Hugh Haycox, Ian Haycox, Yoni Hagner, and Jamie Hamill-Smith rounding out the top 10.
Yep, and as you see, this is a 40-minute race. We go to the race details, and of course, it is the open setups that the Camel GT community make themselves, but there is no spare car for this race. So if you are like Luca Leskala, and you've lost your drop rounds, not going to be good for you. Drive through at 17x, disqualification at 25. I am going to make myself look like a fool here in multi-class racing. I have experienced a DQ at 17x at this track. It doesn't sound possible, but when you're in multi-class racing, it can happen around here, and that is going to be tough as the drivers currently out there in qualifying. One thing I wanted to pick up is we are aware of what Interlagos can be, a hot track. It's only 74 Fahrenheit, 23 Celsius here, Adam. It's an early morning race.
Absolutely. Nice and relaxing time. Nice and relaxing temperatures for these drivers. This is the perfect time to set out a chair and act like Fernando Alonso out there. But these drivers are going to be fairly hot inside the cockpits of their cars as they're trying to set down qualifying lap times. And most of the drivers have set their first laps. Those laps are going to be fairly slow around here, especially with the low temperatures, because the tires on these cars usually take about 2 to 3 laps to warm up around this particular track, so they're not actually going to get the maximum performance out of these tires in this qualifying session. It's a 2-lap hot qualifying that they all do at the same time on individual sessions, empty track for each driver.
Yep, that is the need. And Brendan Lynn just finishing his second lap as he comes around Juncao up to the start-finish straight over the little crest there. Is he going to be faster? Well, he was faster, but Van der Sant then put in a blinder of a lap there. A 1:19.3 exactly to get that there. Did not see that. Villirola, though, current leader of the championship for the GTOs. He's coming around for his final lap. You get to see just how he has to wrestle this car through this middle section.
Yeah, it's surprising. Rolla out to about a 3/10 lead over Trangerade, and Leskala just tucked in behind Trangerade by about 6/100ths. So Leskala not on his game right now as far as the qualifying is concerned, and Rolla putting in some good times. Check it out. It's a real slow middle sector. It's a slow lap in general for the Audis. That 10-second, 11-second delta between the fastest Audi and the fastest GTP definitely coming into play here. Look how much time he has to give before he gets on the throttle when coming through there. Now through Juncao, a real challenge to get the brakes done. A little bit of lock up there, power down. Now he's free and clear. But that being said, this is a straight for most vehicles, not in the Audi. This arcing turn actually chucks you back out to the outside. You can easily get in the grass and into the outside wall in the Audi.
Yeah, there is a little bit of tarmac there to help people with the runoff. He'll come across the line. Does he go faster? He does. Leskala did try to threaten him, but could not get close. Rula then will take that lead. And also Aaron Humphrey in the GTPs just put a very surprising 1:39.396 to go P2, as Leskala will not come across the line as he's doing some drifts. I believe we have everybody going around. Ove Trangerade will not get another lap in. Yes, he will actually. I do apologize. As he comes out, no, he has done, I believe, then.
Yes, he has.
We just have everybody, yeah.
And Aaron Humphrey actually waited until everyone else had completed all their qualifying laps. Now, iRacing, even though they're individual sessions, the track state is the same between all the sessions. And so that means as the track warms up from all the rest of the cars doing their qualifying laps, that translates over to your session. Aaron Humphrey's crossing the line. Can he set a better time? It looks like it's not going to be. About 3/10 slower this time around.
Yeah, it's not going to be, and there is no other driver out there on a lap that will count unless it is Leskala, but he is still in the midst of doing some drifting. So we'll go over the grid, and it's Alexander Van der Sant who will take pole position. Aaron Humphrey getting that P2, and then it's Brendan Lim in third, Daniel Gomez in fourth, Fernando Sorato in fifth, James Power in sixth, Maximilian Senna Muller Might need some of that Senna S driving today in 7th. Jason Dunnington will be 8th. And then it is Eric Interlagos in 9th, with Robert Plumley making his return in 10th. As we go down to the second page of the GTP, Andrew Mitty will be 11th. Hamilton Barrera Reese will be 12th. Scott Lear 13th. Fabian Valle 14th. Jorge Gonzaga will be 15th. And then we've got 2 non-qualifiers, which will be Jason Clapper and Carlos Fonseca.
Good to see Carlos back. Villarrola takes pole in the number 2 machine, with Yuka Leskala in the number 1 alongside him, starting off in 2nd. Row 2 goes to Ove Trangarade with Javier Del Olmo next to him. Jack David Spickett with a stellar qualifying in 5th position beats out Arturas Kundalis, who sits in 6th. Ralph Zeipelt is going to be in 7th position, starting next to Django Val, 2 of the newcomers to the series. Then we got regulars Ian Haycox and Doug Cloud rounding out your top 10. Then it's David Flamont in 11th position with Josh Brain in 12th. Cam Porter and Jamie Hamill-Smith, the last year drivers to set qualifying times, with Felipe Zavoy rounding out your 15-car Audi field and your 29 cars for today.
Yeah, I believe it's actually 32 altogether.
32,
We have those two cars that we were just talking about getting on the grid. A very nice, respectable number here. As much as everyone likes Interlagos, I think we can all agree you don't want a very overpopulated track to drive around here just for those small areas. So drivers will start to grid up, and as you can start to see with everyone getting there, it'll be a short, well, I say it's a short rundown. You start basically in the middle of the track in my favorite sector around these corners. I just want to say, we did mention Pico di Paco turn 10. Adam, it's one of my favorite overtaking corners on this track.
Oh,
you may give me a weird look at me right there.
No,
one of my favorite ones, but it's,
Absolutely. Big Pato is such a good... I adore this track. I know that lots of people have qualms with it, but this is one of my favorite tracks to drive in just about any vehicle. And it's because it's such a challenge. It's such a technical track to drive, but it rewards aggression, actually, because some of these passing zones are a real challenge. You have to surprise the driver next to you, and yes, that can cause some consternation, but it's something that you should actually expect if you're the driver ahead, that at some point, if a driver's behind and he's showing better pace, he might dive it down the inside of Pico de Pato. So that's not a surprise. That's not actually a surprise. It may look like a surprise on a broadcast, but that's something to be expected around here. This track, such a challenge to pass on, but such a joy to have battles on.
Yeah, it's one of my favorites, because also one of the things, if you're in a car, in a group of cars, sometimes you don't want to go for moves, say into SA at turn 8, into Pico de Pato. You don't want to hold yourself up in Juncal. That's a very crazy one if you're going to make an overtake at Juncal, but regardless, people try it because you don't want to lose time. So sometimes you do get a lot of people waiting for the first corner with that slipstream to make the overtake. So just that surprise at turn 10, I feel, is just fantastic. I've had a few looks by people before saying it's a bit aggressive, but as you were saying, you've got to be aggressive around here. As we're just waiting for the last car, the pace car will roll off. Van der Sant will be taking that Nissan.
So fascinatingly enough, these drivers are starting on an incline, and these are double clutch vehicles with their turbo systems. So it's actually a real challenge to get these things rolling if you don't have any sort of clutch assist running in iRacing. So for those drivers that are running, raw clutch and no stall protection, it can actually be a hard time to get going with this short pace lap.
Yeah, of course, it is. Like I said, it doesn't look like it's a short pace lap. It is still a short pace lap because a few corners and you're there. You get ready, as you see behind there with the pace car out there. Van der Sant is going to try and get a good run here. You do get quite a decent run when that pace car pulls in, and you will get to see very shortly what happens there. There's a nice gap between the GTOs and the GTPs as we expect. Temperature has dropped to 75 Fahrenheit, 24 Celsius. And all of a sudden, we will be going racing for 40 minutes when the pace car drops in.
And Craig,
they come up the final. Go on, Adam.
It's another strategy, possibly with the long run to turn 1, to actually wait as long as you can until you get that green flag, so that you don't have other drivers that do get a run on you into turn 1 because of how long it is after the pace car pulls off.
Well, we shall see what Alexander decides to do here. Van der Sant will control them when the pace car darts in, and he takes a very tight line. He waits. Pace car goes in. Let's see if he decides to go for a delay. Barney will be waiting. Green flag's gone, and he has made the jump there. He's caught everyone sleeping, and there might be a little bit of comeuppance in the midfield here. He'll take that lead, and there's going to almost be 3 wide as we've got the 16 going around, and Serato's in, and it's a bit of a wreck into turn 1.
This is going to be bad news for the Audis as well, because they're coming up 3 wide. They are spread out, spread eagles that come into that sector. Looks like all the GTPs have cleared out, but Yukoleskola took over the lead with a good jump on the start over Vili Rolla. Rolla struggling to get through the first couple of corners. Looks like the Audis, though, making it through turn 1 fairly clean.
Yeah, Audi's got away pretty nicely, and Leskola capitalized on that green flag. Unfortunately, we did have, I believe it was Gonzaga, towing, and he looks to be out of the race. Roller has to try and get going here, but just look at the pack behind at the moment. You start to see Trengarade is trying to battle off Candelas, who actually, Torres has managed to make up a couple positions right away, and that in the back is Ralph Seipert. He's trying to make some moves as well. Already a lot of action in the GTOs.
Absolutely, and we'll expect the GTOs to be fighting it out tooth and nail before the Nissans come through, because this is when they're going to have the best chance to sort out their battles, because they're the smaller class today. So that's no surprise. But going back up to the GTPs, the lead right now up to about half a second between Van de Sant and Humphrey. Humphrey in a really good position, though, to continue to follow Van de Sant. He could take a late dive into turn 1 if he chose to, but that's going to be a little bit too far back to actually make the pass.
Yeah, you can start to see he is a little bit later on the brakes there, and that allows him to get a move. One thing I just want to point out there, you see those timing towers for the GTPs. Because of that incident at turn 1, the top 5 are bunched up together just about, and all of a sudden, that's a slowdown by Van der Sant.
Yeah, Van der Sant goes into second position from the slowdown. Aaron Humphreys a little bit caught up by surprise there. He goes to the outside, both of them off track there. So that's going to be about four-ish incidents for Van de Sant that he's going to have to carry out through the rest of this race, just on lap 2.
Yeah, you've got to be, like I said, you've got to be careful around here. It does not feel like you're going to have issues with the off tracks here. Trust me, you will. As you start to see now, that is Aaron Humphrey leading a race around here with Lim and Van der Sant there. And because of what happened there, I think with that Van der Sant slowdown, that has allowed Lim, Gomez, and Power all to catch up here. So we have that 5-car battle with about a second of each other, and then from part 5th to 6th, it's a second and a half behind. So they really have spread out in the front.
Yeah, and you just saw a moment there from Van de Sant where he took Junkai really shallow, and that's a really tempting thing to do. You feel like you have a good run on the driver ahead, and you take it shallow into that corner. But you really, actually, if you want to get the best run down towards turn 1, you really need to take it wide. And speaking of wide, Brendan Lim very wide through the first sector of corners. Oh boy, it's going to be real tight. He actually holds up Daniel Gomez, who has to stay behind him, and that allows Seamus Power through into third.
Yeah, I think what happened there is Lim tried to move off to one side, didn't realize Gomez was going to go. Gomez gets held up there, loses 2 positions, Power gains 2, Lim goes down 1. Now we have seen the strength of Seamus late in this season, and now the question is, with that little mistake, they have lost time to the lead duo. Can Power catch up to Van der Sant? It feels to me like he'll be able to, but because of how treacherous this small track is, these GTPs, he may bring everybody with him, and we still have about 3 more laps, I would think, until these GTPs hit the GTOs.
Absolutely, and speaking of GTOs, just an update on what's going on. Yugolesko and Vili Rolla off to the races, the 2 of them, about a second and a half ahead of Javier Del Olmo, who's trying to hold off a charging Ove Trengarade. Trengarade a little bit out of position in his qualifying. He's trying to make his way up to that 3rd position, but it's really going to be the tail of the tape between those 2 drivers up in the lead, unless they deal with trouble with traffic, and then the rest of the field behind.
Yeah, you can see how slow and how tight they have to take turn 8 there as they go into Pinarino at turn 9 and into Big Godipato turn 10. Just look at the line they have to take. It's a very interesting corner, turn 10, and they managed to navigate it. Just to give you an idea, we're talking about the big moves in the GTPs and the GTOs. Well, just the top 6, they've all just switched 1 position. Ooh. That looks like a bit of a slide from Del Olmo there. I don't think Obe is going to be able to capitalize on it. But again, if that's the held up by Del Olmo, that holds them both up.
Vili Rolla actually has a decent run on Yukolesko. I don't think he's going to be close enough to make a run to a pass this time around. I think he's trying to be careful with his fuel a little bit. Vili just playing the game of being nice and gentle. Now, the Nissans at this point are about halfway around the track compared to the Audis. Audis just coming through turns 1 and 2. Nissans just going into turn 10. So it's about half the lap complete now between the Nissans and the Audis. So the Nissan's going to start hitting the back of the Audis in about 3 or 4 laps time.
Yeah, you start to see as they go down the Retro Opposta. A mistake from Lescala there going wide, and that may allow Ville to try and look for a move. And look, Lescala's had to go defense right away. I don't think there'll be a move here. It's a tough double apex up here into 6 and 7. Get a little bit held up there. This is what I mean. If you get a little bit of fighting in the wrong places, you start bunching everybody up. So just keep your eyes on that relative there. The timing tower with Del Olmo behind, Trengarade as well. That little battle here might bring this in from what was a 2-car battle to a 4-car battle in the GTOs.
Absolutely. This is why Villarreal is not actually making any side-by-side moves on Yuka right now. The best opportunity is into turn 1 if you don't want to lose time. Billy looks like he had a little bit of a misshift there coming towards Jungao, so that was a little bit of trouble here. That backs him back far enough that he's not actually going to be able to challenge Yuka into turn 1.
No, and even with these boxes, they do punch some sort of a hole through the air, so it does allow them, but I'm really curious to see what the lap times are with these front two compared to the 2 cars behind. I think Del Olmo and Trengarade might have made up a little bit of time here, and I say that and I am wrong. They were matching, which goes to show both sets of drivers here are dueling.
But you got to remember also that Yuka Lescala made that mistake last lap, so Villarreal and Yuka Lescala are probably slow by about 3/10, so their raw pace is a good 3/10 to 5/10 quicker than the drivers behind them, but they have to be careful because if they do start battling, they'll slow themselves down real quickly. And we haven't even had the Nissans pass through for the first time yet, so that's going to start happening next lap.
Yeah, there is one struggling GTP, Jason Dunnington, who I believe had an issue at the start of the race, and he's having to fight his way around. He'll have to get past the front 6 GTOs. Maximilian Seller-Muller is in the pits. I'm hoping that's not a setup issue there for him as we start to see the number 1 and the number 2 car in terms of iRacing. They continue to battle. Now, I'm just looking as well at the relatives. I believe next lap we will start to see Aaron Humphrey and Van der Sande start to go through the GTOs.
Absolutely.
That will change everything.
Absolutely, that's going to start happening next lap. It might even start happening down the front straight because the GTPs are just now coming through Pinarino, so they're going to be right on the back of the GTOs when they come onto the front straight. So should be good timing for them to pass a few of them, but then they're going to start catching the rest of them through the middle sector. But we got to pass for the lead of the GTOs. It's Villarreal trying to make the outside move work around Yuka Lescala.
He tries to make the outside. If he gets this side by side, he'll have the inside for the S at the center, and he goes a little bit too wide and loses out. But does he get a run here? He had a really nice run by taking a different line. Is he going to be able to get something here? You know, he may. Goes a little bit wide there. Won't be an off track. Won't be a slowdown, sorry. It'll be an off track. This is going to be a send into turn 4. He can't make it stick. It is so hard with the braking under these cars. The trail braking corner as well. And he just can't make it stick.
Absolutely beautiful late braking move from Yuka Lescala to hang on to that position, and now they've got the Nissan of Jason Dunnington, who's going to start to cut through. So this will actually separate them a little bit because Dunnington is going to have a struggle trying to find his way through there. That being said, Aaron Humphrey has caught the back of the GTOs. Our leader in the GTP is just going past Felipe Savoy, and now he's going to get to the rest of them in the middle sector. This is where the battle for the lead of the GTPs will start to define itself.
Yeah, if you're in a modern day prototype, you're thinking, hey, around here, Pinarino, I can go around the outside, might be able to get something to stick there. Can't do it. How about sending it into turn 10? Well, you can get it in Bico de Pato, and you start to see that's what he's looking at. I make this terminology, I like bringing it up. It's called bookmarking. Put a slower car in between you and the driver you are battling. Right at this moment, in those sections there, you want to be doing bookmarks, and that is exactly what Aaron's managed to do there. Hamel-Smith is between him and Van Sande. It does not help him, though, because Van der Sande gets a little bit of a later move there, and it might look like Alexander may go for a move here, but there is that GTO right in front.
Speaking of GTOs, side by side for the lead of the GTOs at the moment as well. And look at that, a little bit of bump drafting from Yuko Leskala, who's lost the spot to Villirola. He dives to the inside now. It's going to be another late breaking move into one of the most challenging corners on the track there, side by side. Rolla with a little bit of a nose ahead, but this has brought Javier Del Olmo right into the battle with the two of them.
And also, Ove Trengerate is right behind as well. We got to look at where Aaron Humphrey is. He's just coming up to the corner. They were just that, so they are still there themselves. Roller's trying to go around the outside of 6 and 7. He could not make it stick. And
the GTP leaders have wrecked!
No, the GTPs are out of the race. We have had the leaders get together.
It's not that the leaders got together with one of the Audis who was fading across the track. Unfortunately, Aaron Humphrey spun out of this race. He made major contact with the inside wall.
Well, when we get a chance, we're going to have to see a look of the replay. It was just a small mistake from a GTO, but that puts Van der Sant down as well. Here we go with the replay. I did not see what GTO it was. Did you?
Yeah, this is Doug Cloud, and actually, this is not a mistake by Doug Cloud. This is his line, and he actually can't turn the car any sharper than he's doing right now. He cannot turn that car any sharper. The GTOs are not able to make that corner with any kind of speed. If he has to let off there, he actually washes out even further wide into Aaron Humphreys because of the four-wheel drive nature of the vehicle. So unfortunately, Aaron Humphrey just misreading that situation.
Well, Humphrey doesn't have a meat bull. Van der Sant does. To me, Van der Sant's got the least damaged car, but Aaron Humphrey can still keep going. But that puts Seamus Power in the lead with Daniel Gomez battling him as they go around the rest of the GTO traffic. And you start to see how close it is now. These two were battling beforehand. They are continuing to battle. And by the way, just to give you an idea, we're 10 minutes into the race. Fabian Valle has made up 9 places, as has Jason Clapper. Actually, make it 10, as Fabian Valle just gets past Hamilton Barrow Ruiz.
Yeah, so there are clearly some drivers who are a little bit off sequence in their qualifying, but now this is Seamus Power and Daniel Gomez who are catching up to the back of the now 6-car train for the GTO lead, starting with Yuko Leskala all the way back to Jack David Spickett, who's having the race of his life today.
What a race, though, from Jack as well. And all you've got to do at this track is stay with the car in front of you, and that's what he's doing. And they will almost come 2 by 2. Power's going to be holding up there, and Gomez is going to be behind. Who gets the better launch? Well, they're going to go 3 wide very shortly here, and Daniel Gomez is going to look for this. He's side by side. He catches the ball. He saves that on the bottoming, but what does that do for his chances?
It makes him lose out this particular opportunity, but he's still got a car going straight, so I think that was the right choice to back off and save the vehicle at this moment, especially because now Seamus Power's tucked in behind 4 GTOs, starting with Yuko Leskala, Billy Rowland, Javier Del Olmo, and Ove Trangarade. He gets around the first 2, Seamus does, and now he's going to cut through the other 2, and then look at Daniel Gomez cut through as well. He's trying to make it work, because if he doesn't get past these GTOs in this corner, he's going to be held up for the rest of the lap. He can't afford to. He takes a late dive, makes it work, and he's still on the back of Seamus.
But we've got to look at what happened to the GTOs there, because that late dive may have helped Roller there, because that was very late from Daniel. I thought he was almost going to lose it out there. Roller's going to try and go around the outside of 6 and 7 again. Does not work. Did he get the over-under into SA? He cannot do it, and they're almost watching. Trengarade's watching. They're just waiting for a mistake. But look how wide and how open Ville is making these corners at the moment. He's trying to find a way through. Won't make a move into Pico di Pato, but they do have now P3 in the GTPs behind them. That's Brendan Lim, and he does have Fabian Valle trying to catch up to him.
Brendan has lost 4 seconds at this point because of these GTOs who have been battling. Brendan's going to tuck to the inside of Ove Trangarade. He's going to cut him off at the apex because the GTOs are able to get a much better run. But look at the lead of the GTOs right now, side by side. Yuko Leskala, Villirola, and they've got GTP traffic coming through.
That's going to go right there, almost touches the wall, and Roller's going to get that lead. The overlap is there, 3 wide again, as they see Valle go by. Is they going to be able to make a move here? Look at Leskala. He's going to try this around the outside. It's very tough to go around the outside. They almost come together, and Roller's had to give the respect, and they're still side by side as they come around the Curva del Sol. They are keeping this very tight. They're almost holding back as well. I think Roller's got this. Watch out for Javier. He's going to try and follow suit.
Ladies and gentlemen, Camel GT here with these drivers. They got Eric Attilli and Jason Clapper who are coming in as well. It's a three-way fight for the lead of the GTOs with GTP traffic as well. Ove Traingrain getting caught out, a little bit of a mischief for him, but here comes Eric Attilli and Jason Clapper. They're going to have to go around the outside of a three-wide moment here. He's going to go, he's going to do it. He's going to tuck it around the outside there. Billy Roll trying to hang around the outside. Now they've got four more GTPs tucked in behind them.
Tres wide, that is 3 wide, and Roller and Lescler are still side by side for half a lap. You've got to be kidding me. Even with the GTP, they continue in this whole battle to stay side by side. Finally, does Roller have this? No, he does not. This is brilliant. Stand up for these GTOs. What a performance, a whole lap side by side. Has Roller finally got it at John Cow? I don't think he has. Lesker's going to keep fighting this. Hey, Adam, let's go another lap.
Let's keep going. We got GTPs trying to find their way through. They're going to have to make it 3 wide, otherwise they're going to be stuck up. It's really close. Even more contact between Colin Fonseca and Javier Dalmo in the background as well. Carlos is now going to have to go through 3 wide as they go down the front straightaway, almost 4 wide for the GTPs. They're still side by side, a whole lap side by side, as you said, between Billy Rolla and Yuko Lescala.
You've just witnessed a top moment. Roland finally had the position thanks to traffic. What a brilliant fight there in traffic. And they're 3 wide through the Cooper de Sol. And they're not hitting. And here comes Traingrain. I think he's had enough. I think he wants to go another tap there from Lescler and Roller. But they're continuing. You're not missing anything elsewhere. They're not going to do this for a second lap. They're not going to keep doing this. Look behind.
They absolutely are. It's now 2 wide side by side. It's 2 wide, 2 deep for these drivers. It's Ove Trigger trying to make the pass on Javier Dalmo. We got a Terrence Kundelis coming in as well. And Jack David Specker who's been able to recover for the GTPs. Look at this. Billy Roland takes it 2 deep. He's now going to move back to 3rd position. A little bit of contact between Ove Trigger and our Terrence Kundelis. Javier Dalmo into 2nd position.
What a performance. What a performance there from Lescler and Roller. Brilliant work there. And the respect from both of them to just hold on and make sure they have the space. But unfortunately, that one mistake there from Roller, and all of a sudden, he's down into 3rd. And he saw that Del Olmo had a few chances to make moves there, was unable to make them. So we got a 4-5 car train here at the moment. Meanwhile, in the GTPs, you're not missing a lot, though. But we've just got to give you the word that Power is still holding off. Daniel Gomez will keep eyes on that. But at the moment, you've got to keep all eyes on this GTO battle.
Unbelievable racing from both classes. Everyone racing as clean as they possibly could in those moments. Really just phenomenal driving from everybody involved. So much respect, but so much enjoyment and encouragement to battle. I mean, this is what Camel GT is all about.
Yeah, and you just start to see that GTP just overtaking Lescler may have hindered him, but the nature of the GTO around the Cover de Sol, they're almost not able to make this work. He tries to put his nose there. May have just been a little bit of gamesmanship there, just a bit of let's see what you're going to do if you see me try to go for that. But just look at the train behind them, and all of a sudden, Spicket, he may have just lost a little bit of the toe there, but he is trying to hold on. And this would be a 6-car train, and we're not even halfway through the race. And give a shout out to Spicket as well, though. He's lost 1 position, but he is having one hell of a race at the moment.
Absolutely. Jack David Spicket usually up there in the top 5, but usually not within a shot of the lead. And he's absolutely got an opportunity to win this race if anything happens. So, I mean, what a fantastic race we've had so far. Seamus Power and Daniel Gomez still only separated by 7/10 up there at the lead. A nice battle between Robert Plumley and Jason Clapper for 7th position in the GTPs as well.
Yeah, Robert Plumley, we haven't seen him a lot there, and he's having a nice little battle with Clapper, and they just went side by side, and Clapper making a very nice move to get that position. We don't see Robert do a lot of GTP nowadays. He drives the Audi a lot, so really nice just to see him back out here in this race, and he has made up 2 positions, of course. We say he's made up 2 positions. We have had a very chaotic start to the race, so all these positive positions, it's hard to really gauge due to what's happened.
Absolutely. And take a look at this battle for the GTO. 2nd position now. Billy Roll's going to have to make his way around Javier Dalmo as Javier's starting to lose Yuko. He decides to make the move. Now, Javier covers it off just a tiny bit, but Billy Rolla can't get the nose in. The corner too sharp, too tight for the Audi to get around on the inside.
Yeah, that is a corner. I always like to talk about corners that I see in other simulators that they give you a license test on. That is one of those corners. It is tough. It doesn't look it, but you almost basically have to bring the car to a near complete stop before you get on the throttle. You do not want to overdrive the car, get too early on the throttle, and especially with these cars, these classic four-wheel drive cars, it's very tough already to make a corner without the understeer. You add that type of corner in turn 4 to see the Interlagos, it is very hard to get that stopped.
Well, the Audi's a great car, but it does not have a lot of chassis torsion. So this car is really stable, really rigid, especially in this IMSA-ish, formation, the old American Le Mans style, build for this car. It's extremely rigid chassis, and that makes it push very tight around the corners, especially with its four-wheel drive. So you really do have to bring it to, like you said, a near complete stop to make that 90-degree left-hander.
Yeah, I thought Lescalo would try to start to pull away from Del Olmo. They're matching times. In fact, actually, the way I look at it, everyone's matching times at the moment. Just give it half a tenth, and that's basically the difference between these cars at the moment. It's incredible how even when they're all grouped up together, as you see with Roller just on board there is not a lot of space. You've got to feel for Roller. He's actually the biggest loser in terms of positions in the top 10, with just 10. I don't mean it like that, but you know what I mean. He's lost the most positions. No offense, Vila, I'm not saying it like that. He's only lost 2 positions, but that still makes him the most positions lost in the top 10.
Absolutely. So as these drivers continue battling, the lead in the GTPs is similarly close between Seamus Power and Daniel Gomez. About 4/10 separates them, but that can close very quickly. Billy Rolla just keeping the rear mirror of all 3 mirrors, quite frankly, of Javier Del Olmo very full of his car. Look at this. Del Olmo, though, struggles a little bit through this middle sector. I think that Billy's going to want to try and get this pass done at some point. I know he doesn't want to battle with Yuko again like he did, because that just slows everyone down, but he's going to have to dispatch Del Olmo because Del Olmo's starting to fall off the back a little bit of Lescala, and if it wasn't for this front straightaway, Lescala would be running away.
Yeah, again, that is the nature of Interlagos, like we've talked about. You do get that little bit of advantage. And in fact, Del Olmo, I think you may have a little less swing compared to Lescala, because look at that pace he is getting all of a sudden. Yes, a lot of that is slipstream, but you just start to see. And there is a move going on there. Roller is going to make it a lock up there from Trengarade. Roller will get that P3, that defense of P3. Trengarade, though, is starting to be threatening.
Yeah, absolutely. Trengarade. He's not one to wait around. He sees Villy's not making the move on Javier, so he's like, well, okay, Villy, if you're not going to go forward, I will. And so he's trying to make that move work, but these Audis kind of just locked into a little bit of a stalemate at the moment, because Villy knows that if he battles with Javier, it's possible that Yuko can run away, but Javier's not driving quick enough for Villy or Javier to catch up to the back of Lescala, and then Trengarade has the same dilemma with Villy, is that if he starts battling with Villy, then the front 2 start to run away. If everyone wants an opportunity to continue to fight for the lead, they have to kind of stay in a train like this, or they have to agree that someone has to swap positions.
Yeah, and I don't think we're going to get anybody agreeing to swap positions.
No.
I don't know if we can get a comparison between Lescala and Del Olmo up, just to give you an idea, because there's not a lot in it. It is a little bit of I wouldn't say it's just more of a stalemate. It is also waiting for the end, because with 17 minutes left, they are past the halfway stage, and you just start to see how much they are technically grouped up, starting to pull apart or not, but we do have the GTPs coming around yet again. Now, we missed it the second time because of that insane battle. This time, though, even though the front 2 are 10 seconds ahead, it may alter those top 2 positions.
Absolutely. Daniel Gomez going to the outside there of Doug Cloud. Doug Cloud, the driver who was involved in the accident between Aaron Humphrey and Alexander Van der Sant as well. But here come the leaders, Seamus Power and Daniel Gomez, into some traffic. That was Aaron Humphrey going off straight, and he's retiring from the race, unfortunately. But here we go. Our 2 leaders in the GTPs in and amongst the traffic in the GTOs, trying to navigate their way through. Is Seamus going to take it to the inside of Ian Haycox? He thinks better of it. This gives an opportunity for Daniel to take the dive.
They go side by side, but a pick move there, and they do touch, and Gomez will take that position, and that is quite a bit of damage on the back of Seamus' car, which, unfortunately, even though there's one massive straight, that is still going to be a hindrance there. Can Seamus try and recover this? It's going to be interesting. I almost thought there for a moment that Daniel may have pulled a pick move on himself, a late move, but found the opportunity, and the door's open. You kind of have to take it there. Not exactly the way he would have liked it, with a little bit of door banging, though.
No, yeah, and Sheamus tried to stay on the track, but Daniel was going to use up all that space, and unfortunately, you know, that's. I mean, it's on Daniel to try to give Sheamus the room, but at the same time, Sheamus has got to know that that's coming at that point. So you have to take that slowdown that comes with going off the track to the right there and just live to fight another day. But with that damage that Sheamus has, it's going to be hard for him to stay on the back of Daniel over the rest of this race.
Well, we're going to have to keep our eyes exactly on what the pace is. If he stays in the slipstream, he may be okay, but it is going to affect other natures of the car. So he might just be having to salvage a P2 at the moment, but they have an 8-9 second lead to the rest of the field as they come by. And just look at that line of traffic right in front of him. Del Olmo had lost a little bit of time. He's gained it back, and I think they're going to lose even more time when these GTPs come by.
And here come the GTP leaders. Gomez gets held up a little bit by Kundalis, and here they go around the outside. This is the preferred line for the faster class to get around the outside. Del Olmo is going to take as much of this corner as he can, but he leaves the door open for Gomez, who cuts his way through. Gomez knows that if he can break the draft to Power over the course of these couple of sectors, Power is going to be helpless to stay with him. So he's going to be cutting and weaving and ducking and diving to try and take away the lines. But as he does so, he slides and makes contact with the outside wall.
He got too ambitious on the throttle, and he is in the wall. He's managed to salvage that car, but we have to look to see if there is a meatball flag. There is, and unfortunately, as that was happening, let's just keep this again. He just loses it. Was the car already upset then? No. Just too early on the throttle.
Yeah, and now we got a battle for the lead in the GTOs live right now between Yuko Lesko and Javier Del Olmo. Yuko got held up a little bit by Sheamus Power. Javier's down the inside. Yuko sending it deep around the outside. He's got a little bit of banking to tuck him in, a little bit of contact between the two of them, but Yuko's got the inside for the next corner and now swatches over to Javier.
Yuko is thinking, I don't want to do this again. Please, not too wide yet again. But he is, and he's managed to hold it around the outside of the cover. And so, right behind as well, Ruler's trying to look for a move. There's nowhere for him to go. Traingrade looks like he's going to try and get this P3. The car's going 2 by 2. Hurrah, hurrah. And at the front of it all, onto those corners, Leskola keeps that lead. Del Olmo's going to keep P2 just. But Roller is hunting. He's trying to find the advantage. Arturus Cordelis comes out of nowhere to take P4, and he's looking for more.
What a move from Arturus. He just maintained his momentum through that battle, and a little bit of a lockup from Del Olmo as he tries to get a good line to shoot through Pinarito and try and catch back up to Leskola. Leskola trying to break away, unable to do so. They're back line astern now, but my goodness, these Audis know how to fight.
And they've got a GTP and Brendan Lynn, and he's already split Traingrade.
Mischief from Ove
there. And it's going to be a mischief as well for him, so that is going to cost him. He's in a battle with Jack Spickett now. We're not in a 5-1 now. It's going to be 2 and 4, and he just gets by. Look how tight it is that they just hold up there each other. Brendan Lynn will come across to try and get the 4 of the front leaders. Can he get all of them as Fabian Valle is starting right behind him?
Billy's got to make the move. He's got to get past Del Olmo. Del Olmo's starting to drop off the back of Yuko. Billy's going to do it. He thinks about it, but no, the GTP's a little bit of contact. Oh, no, he made the decision too late, and that sends Billy off, and Javier's lost time. Arturus Kundal is trying to make the move on Javier, but this is going to open up Yuko Leskola to be free and clear.
1.5 seconds, and he goes a little bit wide on the exit of cover del Sol, as all of a sudden that small mistake there from Roller has put him down into 6th position, and you just now start to see there's one car on his own. There are 2 cars there. Side by side go Intilli and Clapper in the GTPs right in front. There they are, as you just see, and that's going to be a little battle as well. They get by, and all of a sudden, actually with Leskola getting held up there, that might be a blessing for Del Olmo, but it still is a 1.5 seconds.
Yeah, actually, so that's a lot of lost time for Yuko. Yuko a little bit through the inside of that corner as well. The car not looking happy for Yuko at the moment, possibly just a little bit of a lapse in judgment, but still gaining time through this middle sector as he has all race long on Javier Del Olmo. Unfortunately, Villarroel thought it was too risky to make that inside move on turn 1. And because of the GTPs coming down the track, but unfortunately, he made that decision a little bit too late and would brake a little later than Javier Del Olmo, got into his rear bumper, and that set both of them off. Villarroel now back to 6th position and a good about 4 seconds off the lead.
Yeah, the crucial thing, though, there was no damage on either of those cars. However, the real damage is the time loss and the track position, because all of a sudden, they are no longer in that group of 5. Well, they're in a group of 4. However, they want to be in a group of 5 because the guy leading it isn't the guy leading the class at the moment, as Leskola gets
Leskola gets contact! Contact from Scott Lear! Scott Lear made contact with Leskola there. Fortunately, didn't lose him much time, but lost Lear a position to Plumley.
And that has actually allowed, well, I say that would have allowed Leskola to lose some time there. All of a sudden, Fonseca comes by Del Olmo and Candela, and all of a sudden, he gets it back. We talk about multi-class racing, ebbs and flows of traffic. And you would love it if you're Del Olmo right now for Leskola just to be held up like he is right now. But with the way the traffic is flowing at the moment, for the likes of Del Olmo, he's not gaining because of what's happening around him as well as what's happening in front of Leskola.
Eric Antilli with a little bit of a tight machine here in the GTP, trying to stay on the back of Jason Clapper, but it's a challenge for him to do so. He's right on board with Eric.
Yeah, on board with Eric, and he is trying to make his own way. And none of these cars have damage. And again, Jason's made up 12 spots this race. Eric's made up 4. Now, of course, Eric probably made, you are going to say, has he made it up there from those wrecks? Well, no, he's been able to keep on it as he is now. We're starting to see his board on board there. You just start to see a little bit of shifting there onto the ship. I love just seeing the H patterns there. I love seeing people with the H pattern. Watch him break down for this corner. Look at how he has to take this corner. Just turns his head, looks in for that corner, gets it by. Really nice smooth corner there. He is trying to catch up to Jason. He is doing so.
Yeah, Antilli Vision, I love the name of that Twitch channel. Great job from Eric Antilli. Great to see him racing in Camel. We used to broadcast him a lot over on the Precision Racing League, but Eric doing a good job trying to catch up to the back of Clapper, and they're on the back of Fabian Valet as well, who's up to 3rd position. Like you said, Craig, a great race for Fabian.
Yeah, Fabian is there. He's one of the lowest iRacing drivers in the GTPs, and he is able to make it stick and get some... Well, the iRacing gains is all nice at the end of the day. That's a little bit of the Brucey bonus, as they say over here, but that P3 for the championship would be fantastic. I'm trying to look. I'm going to have to look at my stats. I'm not sure we've had a Seamus Power victory. I'm going to have to look unless I've missed one. But as well, he hasn't had a podium since his last podium was the Road America 500, and that was a big podium. Can he go one better this time and keep that victory?
This would be impressive to see Seamus take this victory. I mean, yes, it's on the back of some incidents and a very deep move into the left 90, but that being said, a win's a win, and you're going to take it, especially in a race that's been extremely arms out around here.
Arms out indeed, and it's almost elbows out as well when you look at the way it is going, because some of these drivers have had to have a little bit of contact, not on purpose, of course. It's the nature of this track. It is one of those tracks that, you think it's nice and wide. You get on the track, it's not so wide. So as we continue on there, with just 7 minutes to go, Seamus with 10 seconds lead. He sees that in P3, Fabian and Brendan and Jason and Eric are battling in the GTP. He has a chance to win his first race on the broadcast.
Yeah, and Seamus Power, he's only had 3 podiums over the course of his entire time in Camel, so Seamus in a really good position, 10 seconds ahead of a charging Brendan Lim. Now remember, Seamus has a little bit of damage, so it's not a foregone conclusion that he'll be able to stay ahead of Lim, so he's still got some work to do.
Well, we'll have to see. It's hard to see at the lap times when it comes to traffic, but the last lap he was a second slower. Now that's definitely not due to that issue with the speed. Is Jason Clapper going to try and make a move here? He pulls it down and he gets to side by side with Fabian Valet. He sets it up beautifully there, and that was a textbook overtake. And all of a sudden, Clapper has moved up into the podium, and he is now going to have to try a game of runaway, and that's going to help him with a GTO right there.
Move down the inside for Arturas Kundalis on Javier Del Olmo, and Javier's not going to fight it too hard, but a little bit of contact slows them up, and here comes Ove Trangarade around the outside of of Javier Del Olmo in the battle for second position in the GTOs, and they've absolutely lost touch with Yuka Lesko at 2.3 seconds now because of that contact.
I think they're no longer looking at that. It might also be an idea. They're going to go 3 wide into the corner, and at the end of the corner, it is still going to be Gonzalez. Del Olmo cannot make that stick. There's another car coming by. It's Jack Pickett. He's going to try and see what he can do. Can Del Olmo around the outside of train grade make it? Almost get tapped there, and Jack Pickett is going to say, thank you very much. I will take that position if you don't want it. But here comes Del Olmo. He says no.
And look out in the rearview mirror, boys. It's Billy Rollo back from the dead. He's going to try and get himself up to second position, try and recover a little bit of a point stay. A nice battle side by side between Jack David Spickett and Javier Del Olmo. Spickett gaining brownie points in the eyes of the drivers around him. Great battling, respectful battling, trying to hang it around the outside. Del Olmo trying to hang it around the inside. Who's going to get later on the brakes here? It's going to be Del Olmo. He's going to cut off Jack David Spickett. Jack David Spickett doing the overrunner, but can't do so. Billy Rollo sticks his nose in a little bit of contact. He's now side by side with Spickett. They've now absolutely lost the plot with Ove and Arturus ahead.
And this is what we were worried about when you get battling. If you get battling at the wrong places, you're going to lose out here. 3-car battle now for P4, while there's a 2-car battle for P3. There goes Ville going for the move into cover, and he sticks it with a beautiful move. Can Jack make a response here with 4 minutes to go? He has a fantastic run up the center S into the cover del Sol. Can he make it? I don't think he can. Ville's got a run though on Ove.
The Falcon
tire. Sorry.
The Falcon Tire Audi trying to make his moves forward. Billy Rollo takes a look to the inside. Javier Del Olmo later on the brakes, though. Billy moves back in line to try and get a good line. Javier a little bit offline, takes an incident, but nothing doing there for Billy Rollo. No room to move forward. Billy's been stuck behind Javier this entire race. Javier has been the absolute bane of Billy's race today.
Yeah, if there's ever one of those things that you call your bad luck charm, I think that's what Javier is to him as well. I'm keeping my eyes, just keep your eyes, ladies and gentlemen, on that relative there, on that timing tower for Lim and Power, because he took 2 seconds away from Power last lap. There is 3 laps to go. Anything can happen. Keep your eyes. If that gets closer, we will show you. But at the moment, you'll start to see Arturus is trying to hold off Ove as they come into Junção. He may be able to do it. And then behind, what's going to happen when Del Olmo, Roller, and Spickett have their own little run again? Are we going to see another 3 wide?
That would be interesting, with Jack David Spickett unfortunately a little bit too shallow through Junção, so he did not get a good run to the straightaway. He's not going to have an opportunity. But Billy Rolla's got to move. He's got to make this pass. He's got to get to the inside of Javier. Javier covering off. Billy's going to look to the outside. This usually doesn't work as a pass, but it's this Billy Rolla we're talking about. He can make anything work. He's going to stick his nose in. Can't quite get it done, though. A little bit too sharp.
Yeah, a little bit too sharp there. And that is damage for Eric Intilli. And something has happened there for him. He has dropped a couple positions. He is going to fall out of the top 3, or in that battle. He comes around. That is Pico Di Pato. Comes around the corner. Whoa. And a little touch there with the Falcon livery there.
Yeah, but unfortunately it was not that touch that sent him around. It was actually just the rear tires getting spun up a little bit too much on the exit there. You could see him lose traction right there. See him trying to counteract that spin. Manages to stay mostly out of the side of the 12. Good move from Eric to, good sportsmanship there. Take himself out and not another driver.
Yeah, and that is what we've seen today. We've seen hard racing. We've seen respectful racing. It has been up there with one of the all-time classics in the Camel GT, and we're going to get a support. We may, let's knock on wood for a moment. Let's not jinx Seamus. We may get a shock victory. But of course, he has earned it. But this is a battle for P3. Jason Clapper battling Brendan Lim. Jason's made that move. Fabian's right behind as well. Is there going to be some more bookmarking? But Jason's getting held up by traffic. I think he may be able to hold on here. But Junção will come. And with 1:30 to go, I think they've got to go one last time. 1:28, 1:27. They may have to do another lap. Yes, there's going to be 2 seconds left when Seamus crosses the line next time.
Absolutely. So here's an interesting thing to note. Jason Clapper has been stuck at the back of the pack for most of the season. Him being in second position, he's absolutely outperforming where people would expect him to be, as Ian Haycox takes it way too deep through turn 1. This is going to be an interesting rejoin. He manages to save it. Fabian taking a very evasive line. Billy Rolla's made it past Javier Del Olmo. Billy's done it.
That's just what he needed. He's made that move. Del Olmo is going to try and fight this, so he's going to have to try and do this around the outside, and we've seen that has not worked at all this season. And when you've got the leader coming by, you know you've got one lap left. I'm pretty sure they will go one more time by. They will indeed. Sheamus has to just keep this on. That gap has leveled at 7 seconds. Those times have leveled. Sheamus just has to bring this car home. But for the rest of these cars, they still got another lap of battling.
Absolutely. So Billy Rolla up to 4th position now. Arturas Kundalus and Ove Trangrade having their own battle for 2nd up ahead, and Yuko's free and clear by 4 seconds. He just needs to keep himself safe and keep going. Sheamus Power getting held up here by Ove and Arturas. He's able to get by Ove. This is going to be a risky move on Arturas. Arturas gives him a wide line, a wide berth to make sure that they both can take the corner at full speed. Havridal almost off in the background though.
Yeah, he's flying. He is absolutely flying at the moment. And this will be the last lap of the race. And we see Trangarade is trying to make that move. He's trying to make the move into the S's. And around the outside is Kundelis. But that means Ove has got that. Around the outside, he goes for the center S. And can he hold on to this at their side-by-side at the Retroposta? And can he hold this when he gets the P? Turn 4, I mean. This is for P2 of the race. They both break at the same time. The inside belongs to Trangarade. He gets that position, but you can bet that fight is still ongoing.
Absolutely. Kundalus keeps his nose in. He keeps his nose on, and he's going to take the inside away from Trangrade. No, Trangrade lean on the brakes. Going to try and do it around the outside, but Kundalus has the line. That's Ove trying to keep his nose in. Here comes Jason Clapper. He doesn't have time to wait. He's got Brendan Lim and Fabian Valet behind him, so he's going to take away the apex from Ove Trangarade and try and go around the outside of Penarino and get that job done. This should free up Kundalus.
That should give him the freeing that he needs as he comes by. And of course, at the front, while we're watching this with just one more official corner left to come, it's Sheamus Power. He's done it. And for the first time in the broadcast, he can stand on the top step. And it's a well-deserved victory. He's kept it consistent. He's been at the right place at the right time. And Sheamus Power is going to win the race at Interlagos.
So proud of Sheamus finally getting that win. The battle for second between Jason Clapper, Brendan Lim, and Fabian Valet broken up by this battle for second in the GTOs. Jason's going to take second in the GTPs. Yuko Leskala taking the win in the Audis, and Arturas Kundalus taking second in the GTOs.
What a race we have seen. That was up there with one of the best. We are going to take a break. We are going to catch our breath. Believe me, we need to catch our breath. And we will be back with the wrap-up and interview. So do not go anywhere. Welcome back, everybody. We have somewhat caught our breath after that, but what a fantastic race. So let's just go over those results in the GTPs to start with. And for the first time on the top, we can say Seamus Power is a Camel GT broadcast winner. Jason Clapper makes 14 spots up to P2. Brendan Lynn started third, finished third. That's a notable drive. Fabian Valle made up 10 places. He finishes in fourth. Robert Plumley with a very quiet P5. Scott Lear will be sixth. Eric Intilli had a chance for a podium and unfortunately had a mistake. He finishes seventh. Carlos Fonseca will be eighth. And Hamilton Barrera Ruiz will be ninth with Andrew Mitty in 10th. And for the second row, Andrew Dunnington was the last of the runners in 11th. And then you get the retiree, Daniel Gomez, Aaron Humphrey, Alexander van der Stant. Both of those two were P1 and P2. Maximilian Senna-Muller, Fernando Serrato, and Jorge Gonzaga, they were all retirees. In the GTOs, can you run this down, Adam?
Absolutely. Yuko Leskala with a win after holding off a charge from Villi Rolla and holding off the charges from Javier Del Olmo. He hangs on to win the race. Arturas Kundalis hangs on over Ove Trangrade to take a great second position, with Ove Trangrade making a great charge up the field into third position from sixth. Villi Rolla is going to finish fourth after starting second and getting shuffled out by contact. And then we got Jack David Spickett with the drive of his life hanging on to the lead back, finishing in a top 5 position today. Ian Haycox does a great job to hang on to 6th position, with Ralph Zeifelt in 7th as well. Cam Porter, a good drive from him today, up 5 positions, finishes in 8th spot with Javier Del Olmo. Unfortunately, contact on the last lap after a spin from Jinkao puts him in 9th position, with Josh Brain taking the final top 10 spot in 10th. David Flamont in 11th position with Felipe Savoy in 12th. Doug Cloud had a lot of contact today, finishes in 13th, 2 laps down. Then Django Ball 6 laps down, and Jamie Hamill-Smith did not finish.
And that was the result. And I think it's only fair to bring in the man, and it's Seamus Power. And I've got to say this, Seamus, how does it feel to hear Seamus Power, Camel GT winner?
I can't believe it, honestly. Like, I'm still kind of processing it right now. I actually, in 10 minutes, I have to go do an IMSA endurance race with a teammate, so it's kind of got to go in and out, but wow, can't believe it, honestly.
Yeah, I mean, I've got to talk as well from that first lap incident, because it looked like it was a little bit of carnage getting through it, and then there was even more carnage near the end. So what was your thought process? Was it just mainly a battle of survival in those first few laps?
Yeah, absolutely. Like, that lap 1 incident, I prayed that I wasn't going to get collected in it, and somehow I just got lucky that time, I think, from where the car was. After that, it was more of just like, well, okay, like, half the field got taken out behind me. I'm in a pretty good position. Let's see if I can at least hold the spot. And then, obviously, P1 and 2 went off at some point, and then it became a bit more of a nail biter. But yeah, once I got through towards the last third of the race, I was just trying to keep it on the track as much as possible, try and not have any incidents with the GTOs, which I think worked out in my favor. And yeah, here we are.
Yeah, I've got to ask you about that, because the GTOs were having the battles of their life. We all know what it's like to get around traffic around here. What was it like trying to get around those cars, and at some point having to go 3 wide, because that is a little bit of a trust fall there?
Yeah, I mean, my approach with Camel, and I guess in multi-class in general, is try and be conservative with traffic and aggressive with people that's in the same class as me. It kind of just avoids, I guess, the typical pratfalls of, trying to steal a corner away from a slower class that kind of might end up biting you in the ass a little bit while further down the line. But no, I mean, I knew, especially on this track, a lot of the GTOs bunch up quite a lot, and that one incident, I think Daniel, who was fighting with me for P1, he went a bit aggressive and ended up spinning off, and I was just like, okay, that might be a bit of karma for me, so I'm just gonna try and take it as easy as possible around the GTOs for the rest of the race.
Yeah, I know you've got a IMSA endurance to go to, but have you got any shout outs for the evening?
I guess shout out to Jason, because he managed to P2 from the back of the grid. He's always been trying to make, I guess, a 0 to hero race from every Camel GT, and it's fantastic to see him get a second step on the podium. And I know Laos couldn't be here tonight, but I was actually using his setup today. So he's always been fantastic with sharing the setups with the rest of the Camel GT guys. So I really appreciate it.
And Seamus, this is Adam. Congratulations on the win. I know you've been working at this for years, so congrats, and we look forward to seeing what else you can bring to the table.
Thank you very much.
Yeah, that was Seamus, and I was gonna hand to Adam. Adam has been holding that in. We are all very happy to see Seamus on the top step finally of the race. And we do have one more here. We do have Cam Porter here, who had a very challenging battle in the midfield of the GTOs. Adam has been able to get a word with him.
Yeah, Cam, challenging battles, but up 5 spots today. This has got to be a good race for you. This has got to feel good for you today.
Yeah, I'm very happy with the position. I don't feel good about how my battle with Doug Cloud ended, unfortunately. So apologies to Doug, but at the same time, in my defense, I feel like I had significant overlap going into that corner, and there was a slight touch and he went off, unfortunately. So I feel like that was a racing deal. But yeah, it was a really fun race. Anytime 40 of my closest racing buddies get together, it's a good time.
Yeah, absolutely. And the traffic today was a whole nother level of crazy. A lot of respect out there, but still, it's such a challenging track to handle the traffic on. How was it for you?
It was pretty good. I got to say the GTP drivers were really patient today. It was good to see that. I think a lot of the new people that have come in lately have been really learning the ins and outs of managing traffic in this series. So I got a shout out to the Nissan guys for being patient around me, at least.
Yeah, and Cam, I mean, this whole season has been ups and downs for you, I feel like, over and over again. But how are you feeling after, I mean, I know the contact with Doug was not ideal, but how are you feeling after a race where you gained so many positions? Is that going to carry that momentum into next week?
I hope so. Qualifying has never been my strong suit, but I don't really make qualifying sets either. I usually just, my qualifying pace is my race pace, but I also pick up some pace in the race sometimes too, because today, for example, I picked up a whole second over my qualifying time. But yeah, really happy with that race today. Really fun.
And really quickly, what are your thoughts heading into Long Beach?
Long Beach. Oh, I'm looking forward to Long Beach. Should be exciting. It'll be great viewing at the very least on your broadcast.
Absolutely. Well, that was Cam Porter, who finished in 8th today in the GTOs. Thanks for talking to us, Cam.
You're welcome. See you next week.
That was Cam Porter, who finished 8th. Back to Craig.
Yep, and that will be it for the day. So I'm going to give a shout out to Adam, Rob, and of course Dougie, and basically shout out to all of those for the chaos we've had to do today. It's been one hell of a broadcast. Make sure to check out our social media, our website, our merchandise store, and do not forget to subscribe to our YouTube channel, because you don't want to miss another moment here on GSRC or those camel races. You'll see a list of some of our other broadcasts coming up in the week, but the next one for the Camel GT will be next Saturday, the 6th of May, 1 p.m. Eastern. Like Adam said, it will be Long Beach. So until next time, race clean, race hard, and we will see you on the track. Good evening, ladies and gentlemen.